everyone. Welcome back to the another amazing session of Founders Launchpad. So today we have with us our guest speaker, Mr. Vipul Shah. He is an accomplished agri marketing and communication professional with over 7 years of diverse experience in agriculture, rural development, international trade, and strategic communications. He has worked with esteemed organizations including the Embassy of Brazil as an agricultural technical assistant, Reliance Retail Limited, India's largest retail chain, and even the Center for Agriculture and Rural Development. So, he has successfully led innovation and entrepreneurship programs, facilitated cross border trade collaborations, and managed high impact CSR initiatives, securing funding and building capacity for startups and incubators across the India. He also specializes in stakeholder engagement, strategic alliances, quality management, and agri marketing with expertise spanning vendor management, data analysis, content development, and even campaign execution. Holding an MBA in International Trade Management from NMIMS and a BSc in Agriculture and Food Science from Amity University, he combines technical agricultural knowledge with strong business acumen, and also his career highlights include that forging partnerships with global institutions, driving government supported programs, and authoring 5 knowledge reports on emerging agri-tech trends published by Indian Agricultural Research Institute.
I think the screen is visible.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay. So as the topic says, opportunities and pathways in agri-tech. So basically agri-tech by the acronym it says agriculture plus technology. So if we combine both of these, we get the acronym as agri-tech. So basically there is a kind of a, you can say a misconception that if a person wants to start a business or want to start a startup around agriculture, that person needs to be belonging to that field, means that person should have a background of agriculture. But partially I would say this is true and partially it's not. Being associated with the Pusa Krishi, which is an agri incubator at IRI, we have seen a vast number of people coming from various sectors, maybe from engineering, maybe from computer science, maybe from finance background, or maybe from the agriculture itself. Uh, there is not a guarantee that someone belonging to a you can say a background of agriculture, or someone may have done BSc agriculture or MBA in agribusiness will excel in the agri-tech startup. But someone from the engineering background can have some kind of a passion about it. So passion will be something which will drive you, make you stick with that, the perseverance that you want to pursue in agri-tech sector, and then you can take it forward from there. So in today's webinar, we'll be having the opportunities and how you can make your way in the agri-tech startup category. So I'll just break down the session and the objectives that we will be taking forward today. So I'll just give you a very brief about why agri-tech matters today. Since agriculture is the backbone, we say agriculture is the backbone of India. Most of the GDP, about 15 to 20% of the GDP falls or is contributed by the agricultural activities, agriculture as well as the allied sectors. And although you can say the most of the population, you can say almost 45 to 50% are farmers, which are engaged directly or indirectly in the agricultural sector. So second topic that will be covered will be the opportunities in the agri-tech space. Opportunity areas means agri-tech is an umbrella. It have many subsectors to it, many categories to it, in which agri-tech can be taken up as a career or it can be taken as a startup or a business. Then what will be the key challenges? We'll be going through that, and what it takes to thrive as a agri-tech startup. If you start a business, if you start a startup around agri-tech, what it will take to thrive to it, how you can, how the passion can drive that business. And then we have the role of incubator, same as the incubator that is there in graphic era. Many incubators are there in various other institutes, many other universities that help out the startups, nurture them, incubate them. So we'll be learning about that. And last of all, we'll be having some Q&A if you guys have, and some kind of discussion, open-ended discussions. So objectives basically would be, we'll be understanding the agri-tech sector, why it is the rising sector in India. We'll be identifying high potential opportunities, the areas under agri-tech with examples. We'll be learning about the key barriers, like how if you get into the agriculture space, what barriers you will be facing, what bottlenecks that you will be facing, and how we can navigate according to that. And then we'll be having a step-by-step framework of launching a agri-tech startup, lean agri-tech startup. Basically, uh, you don't have to diversify in the single startup. For example, if you are doing animal husbandry, stick to that animal husbandry. If you are doing agricultural inputs, stick to that. We don't have to diversify. Initially, we don't have to diversify in many categories. So that will be the point that we'll be covering in that, and incubators, how it can support your journey throughout. So first of all, we'll see why agri-tech matters today. We can see agriculture in India, the dependency is a lot, almost 45%. We can say 500 million people of the Indian workforce or the Indian population is directly or indirectly dependent and engaged in agriculture. 16% of GDP, which is approximately 45 lakh crores in the financial year 24, as per the economic survey, it has contributed to 16%, which it as a whole matters a lot. But 50% of the yield lags on the global average. We have seen Indian agriculture, though it's a very big business, but still the crop yields that we see in the farms, the farmers do best of the packages, practice of packages in agriculture, but still the yield on an average lags about 50% comparing to US, Canada, Australia, these countries. Then major problem that we see is 86% of the farms are less than 2 hectares. So fragmentation of the land holdings is another problem. Then 10 to 15% crop loss is an yearly problem which contributes approximately 1.5 lakh crore. So this is majorly caused by the post-harvest losses. Then globally, if we see, agri-tech is growing. We see there are problems, there are bottlenecks in Indian agriculture, but globally, if we see the overall scenario in the agri-tech space, the market is growing. In 2024, it was approximately $24.42 billion, and we are expecting it to grow at the CAGR of 12.3%. So it is a rising sector. We can't say it has reached some kind of a saturation, or if you start a kind of a startup today in the agri-tech space, you won't be getting any customers or you won't be getting any market for it. That's not the case. The market is growing and we have a lot of potential in it. So if we see the opportunities in this, I have taken some kind of a, we say TAM, which is a total addressable or total available market. According to the EY report, it says that agri-tech sector in India is growing rapidly, and it is um, approximately, it says about $34 billion. It will be reaching the market size by 2027. So means it is growing. Currently, it is at 24 billion, and by 2027, it will reach 34 billion. So there is a space, and I know there are many competitors. There will be ideas in your mind in the agri-tech space that you want to start, and you say that in the similar domain, you might be having multiple competitors in that. But having some kind of a USP will make you differentiate from the competitors, and there is space for the market since it is growing. So if we see the TAM, we see $170 billion is the total opportunity in the market in terms of turnover. $24 billion is the total addressable market right now, and 204 million, which is approximately 1% of the agri-tech potential that is yet to be disrupted. Now, if we see the opportunities, so as I said, agri-tech is a vast umbrella. In that, you have many subsectors, you have many categories in that. These four basically points for the major stake in the $24 billion industry that we have right now in India. So first of all, we have market linkages and farm inputs. Market linkage is basically you are connecting a farmer to the direct to the consumer or to the retailer. Either you are going as a middleman in that, or you are going directly taking the produce from the farmers and giving it out to the consumers. You can say D2C model in that. Farm inputs, basically it includes seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, bio inputs, and these kind of activities. So either it can be that you are producing your farm inputs by your own, you are producing your own seed, you are producing your own pesticide or bio input in a chemical form or in a biostimulant form, and you are marketing that. On an average, according to the financials that we seen from the startups that we have incubated from 2019 onwards, typically they earn a profit approximately 8 to 10% on the agri input side. The total profit, like the PAT we say, after taxes, everything, after deductions, after salaries, after everything, we approximately have 10 to 8 to 10% of the margin profitability in the farm input sector. Then we have 6.4 billion US dollar, which is for the precision agriculture and farm management, which is a very growing market nowadays. Uh, we can see from the funding investment side also, the VC firms, or you can say the foreign investors, are precisely uh, noticing the growth in precision agriculture in India and farm management, because in abroad it has reached some kind of saturation. In US, in Brazil, in Argentina, in Australia, in many places, many foreign countries, farm management, more specifically poultry and dairy, these have reached some kind of saturation because in every farm there is a farm management system. In India, you can say it is still in the organized sector, which is hardly accounting 1 to 2%. And might have heard of Saguna Foods, or you might have heard of Egos, which is one of the startups, or you might have heard of Licious. So these big brands are doing farm management, but still there's a long way to go. Then another sector which is at a very high scale is agri logistics and supply chain management. India, as I said, loses approximately 10 to 15%, which is 1.5 lakh crore of worth of produce, which accounts like fresh fruits and vegetables are there, cereals are there, pulses are there, oil seeds are there, spices are there. So all this is getting deteriorated because proper supply chain and proper logistics is not there in India. So approximately on the higher side that I have taken is approximately 8% of the blended margins the startups can get in this kind of space. Now, lastly, which also accounts to a big chunk is financial service. You might have heard of crop insurances that are given by maybe banks or some NBFCs, or nowadays startups are into financial services, providing insurances, loans, credit facility to the farmers. So this is basically market for lending in is projected to estimate in the loan book. For example, if you are giving out loans to some farmers, so the basically the AUM, which is a augmented market size that you collect, the kind of premiums in total you collect is the loan book that you capture. So on an average, the ticket size which the startups get is approximately 1.5 lakhs, which is the average value a farmer takes either in the form of loan, or the startup or a company or an NBFC, which is a non-banking financial services. They give out credit facility to the startups. So ticket size is basically 1.5 lakhs, and the net interest margin ranges between 3 to 5%. So this is overall is the opportunity in the agri-tech space. We'll be exploring more on this in the next slide. Any doubt, if anyone has, can unmute and ask. Okay, I'll move forward. So these are some of the opportunities that I have identified that we have to keep in radar if we have to start some kind of a startup or some kind of a business in agri-tech. So first one, since it's a booming business, precision agriculture or precision farming, it basically involves IoT, which is Internet of Things, drones, sensors, and artificial intelligence data. So on precision farming, we actually tackle unpredictable yields, high input wastages, and low productivity. If these are the problem in the farm area, and you want to tackle these kind of problems, then precision farming will be the go ahead. So in precision farming, what we do is we use IoT-based sensors. We have GPS-guided tractors, which are driverless tractors. We have drone spraying, which is getting very famous nowadays. Even startups are coming into it, and even the government is promoting it after the guidelines have been approved. Then we have satellite monitoring. Then we have AI-based crop predictions. Along with predictions, we also have pest and disease detection, from which there are startups, for example, AgriVision. AI is one of the startup. You just need a smartphone, or a farmer just need a smartphone. They have to click a picture of any disease or pest they see in their farm, and from the algorithm, the backend algorithm, or the some kind of data learning they have done, the coding languages, the farmer get what kind of disease it is, and it also gets what kind of curative measure that it has to take to get rid of that disease, or in the next crop cycle that disease doesn't come up. So those kind of package of practices in the agricultural field is also recommended to the farmers. Also, variable rate of irrigation. You might have heard of drip irrigation, which is also very famous practice, which India adopted. It originated in Israel and got famous in India by Jain irrigation. So variable rate irrigation is basically conserving the water in the farmland. Flood irrigation is basically you open the tube well, water is flowing, uh, you can say for an hour, but the land requires it only for 10 to 15 minutes. So the moisture of the land is not checked and just flooded over the soil. So in precision agriculture, I have given three examples to it. One is an Indian-based startup which is called Fasal. You can see they are doing sensor-based precision agriculture and weather analytics by reducing water use by 30% and improving the crop yield in the horticultural crops. So this is a startup. These startups have grown huge now. They have raised a lot of funding from the investors. They are doing good in terms of revenue as well. This is the Indian startup. Then we have Agrimetrics, which is a UK-based startups also operating in India. They provide farm level data intelligence and precise input decisions to the farmers. They have multiple partners here in India as well. Now, a global giant, which is John Deere, which is into manufacturing of tractors as well. They have initiated see and spray technology in their tractors. So it is an AI-enabled spray which identifies weeds and selectively applies herbicides, reducing the chemical use up to 90%. On the other hand, if we see the scenario where farmers go into the field and they just spray the herbicides on the crop, right? So it's basically using more number of, or you can say much more liters per acre compared to the precise herbicide application which See and Spray of John Deere is doing. So over there, chemical usage is saved. Water is saved because you have to mix the pesticide or the chemical with water. So water is also saved, and the crop which is actually standing in the farmland, that is not getting in touch with the chemical because you are precisely spraying on the precisely spraying the herbicide on the weed itself, not on the crop. So that is getting saved. Second part that you see is farm mechanization. Farm mechanization is basically uh, any kind of mechanical activity that you have to do in the farms. For example, smart equipments or automations are included in this. So in India, there's a labor shortage during peak season, for example, during sowing time or during rice transplanting time, or you can say during harvesting time. There is always a labor shortage in between. Also, the labor that is involved in these kind of activities are higher cost. So the cost has to be bared by the farmers, which eventually impacts his profit. And thirdly, if there is a problem of inefficient farm practices, right? So for this farm mechanization, we have autonomous tractors, we have solar equipments, we have drone-based spraying, we have robotics for sowing and weeding, we have shared farm equipment models like Uber for tractors. You might have heard of rentals, which is a custom hiring centers. If a farmer, like a small hold farmer who doesn't have a tractor, During the operational time, like for example, if they have to prepare the field or they have to do intercultural activities or they have to do harvesting, they can rent out the equipment as well as a tractor from a custom hiring center, and then they can utilize that. We have startups as well as good number of companies in this. For example, one company is Krishi E, which is a subsidiary of Mahindra itself. Mahindra again is a leading tractor manufacturing company in India. Mahindra's Krishi provides precision mechanization, soil testing, and data-backed advisories to almost 1 million, or you can say more than 10 lakh farmers. So it's a big base. These farmers are predominantly those farmers who have taken tractors from Mahindra, and it is, you can say, it's currently on a pilot stage by Mahindra, but it is growing well. They are earning from the pilot as well through the soil testing facility and the advisory services that they are providing to the farmers. On the other hand, they are also building up their backend database for providing precise advisory over the period of time. Second, we have Nico Robotics. They have a product called Tata Sense. They have developed some small robots to, go inside the field and do precise targeted spraying and weeding practices, which has to be done actually by the laborers. But due to shortage of labor, or you can say high cost of labor, these robots can be operated at the corner of the plot, and it can be, reducing down the input cost, or you can say the overall uh, budget of producing a crop to the farmers. So they are reducing pesticide usage by 50% and improving the accuracy day by day. They are also including AI in this. Then we have Monarch Tractors, which is a US based company. They are producing electric autonomous tractors. They have been deployed in 10,000 acres in California. And since it's a electric based tractors in India also, there are many companies like Mahindra itself, Sonalika, Kubota is there, and some of our startups, incubated startups, they are also working on electric tractors right now. So this is another field that can be on radar. Then we have supply chain and marketplaces. So as I said, there are post-harvest losses accounting to 10 to 15% due to poor agri-logistics and supply chain management. Inefficient logistics, poor price realization. You might have seen in Maharashtra, there is in 2 to 3 years, you might have seen in the news as well that prices of onion, it might come down to 2 to 3 rupees per kg for a farmer, or then it shoots up for a customer in the metropolitan cities to approximately 100 to 150 rupees a kg. So actually, if as a customer you are paying 100 to 150 rupees for onions, is that going to the farmers as well? Though there is a middleman, though there is a supply chain cost, though there is storage cost, there is multiple other handling cost and packaging cost and every other package, the costing is involved in it. But is 100 rupees per kg, which in a metropolitan city a consumer is giving, is it going back to the farmers? The answer is no. So poor price realization for the farmer is there, and multiple intermediaries, which we call as middlemen or bicholia. In the mandi, if you go in the wholesale markets, or you can also term it as artiyas. So in the Azadpur Mandi, you can say in Delhi, which is there in every state, there is a local mandi as a nationalized mandi. Two types of mandis are there, or a district level mandi is there. So many middlemen are there, which comes in between, take their 1 to 2%, and then pass on the product to the another hand. So every 1 to 2% middleman that is coming in between is increasing the cost to the customer end. So that is the problem of the supply chain. So for this, you might have heard these two brands, the startups which are there, Ninja Cart and Dehat. They have started very early in the, I would say, before COVID. Ninja Cart is basically procuring fresh produce directly from the farmers and supplying it to the restaurants. You can say B2B markets. Even they are supplying to quick commerce nowadays. They are handling approximately 1400 tons of produce and cutting down wastage to 20%. So since it's a agricultural product, it's a live product, uh, deterioration might happen. Deterioration in terms of handling it can do, or it can be in terms of quality as well. So wastage by 20% they are doing, but they are reducing it down on a frequent basis. Dehat, on the other hand, which is another startup based out in Gurgaon, Haryana, they provide end-to-end solution, which is inputs, advisories, market linkage to 2 million farmers across 13 states. They initiated their operations in Bihar, but now they have expanded rapidly across India and raised a lot of funding from equity, from the private investors as well as angel investors is there. Now they are also into D2C and B2B brands. They are packaging dals, you can say, they are packaging pulses, they are packaging wheat flour and sugar. Those kind of consumer-based items also they are procuring directly from the farmers in terms of contract farming and supplying back to the consumers. Then there is a startup in Kenya which is called Tigwa. This startup actually holds on to 4,000. It's one of the biggest startup in Kenya, which holds on to 4,000 smallholder farmers, and they procure directly from them and directly provide it to the urban areas, increasing the income of the farmers by approximately 25%. Now, fourth category, which is agri fintech. In metropolitan city, even in Dehradun, you might have like on a very daily basis, you guys will be using Google Pay, Paytm, or Bheem. Those UPI applications are being used, but on the farmer level, mostly the transaction is done by cash, right? So converting those farmers into using something digital or getting in, like I would say, not all farmers nowadays. Things have changed. The people or the newer generation who are coming into agriculture, they are using UPI, but the older generation who are still, or the smallholder farmers that are still into the agricultural practices, they are still into the cash flow statements or still, using cash for the daily transaction. So switching them from a cash to UPI payments or digital transaction will help them using the credit facility which banks can provide or startups can provide. They can even get, you can say, loans, or the government is also giving Kisan credit cards nowadays. So that can be availed. But for that, their banking backbone should be strong. They should have a good credit scoring for that. So if the farmers are facing and you want to pursue this agri-tech space, limited affordability and formal credit plus insurance, this is a lacking problem in Indian farmers. Also, we have manual financing system. Manual financing system basically, uh, you might have heard of private lenders in the farm areas, right? In the village area, there are, like can say, pradhan jo hote hain वहाँ के village area के, or you can say the private lenders who give out money on a very high interest rate, which is not organized. So those people come under manual financing systems. So we have three startups. Samanati, you might have heard of. It's not a startup right now. It has grown up to a very big company into the agri-tech space. They have they have financed approximately 15,000 crores by supporting 6,000 FPOs, and they are also using AI for the credit scoring of the farmers. AI for credit scoring means how uh, worthy enough is the farmer to give back the loan. If the farmer or a FPO has taken some kind of credit from the banks or say Samunati, they are using AI for their database. How much of the percentage, if the farmer has taken the loan, how much of them will be giving back us the loan with interest, or it will become a NPA, which is a non-performing asset. So they are using AI in that. Another is World Fintech, which is a startup incubated by us only. It's a blockchain-based agri-fintech startup that digitizes warehouse receipts. So, for example, if a farmer is growing wheat or if a farmer is growing paddy, rice, or maybe some kind of pulses, they want to store it. So they can go to a warehouse which is associated with World Fintech. They can sack their bags over there. They can store their bags over there. Any crop, which can be potato, it can be vegetable, fruits, or any some kind of warehouse which are allocated for it. The farmer can go store their crop over there. Actually, that crop which he stores in the warehouse acts as a collateral to the farmer or to the financing company. So in against that, warehouse receipts are given to the farmers, and warehouse receipts are basically loans that are provided to the farmers as a post-harvest loan, which are dispersed within 2 to 4 hours. So this is something a startup is doing of ours. Then we have Pula. Pula is again a Kenya-based startup which is doing weather-based crop insurance to almost 10 million farmers. They are based in Kenya, but they are providing insurance services into 17 other countries, and they are using satellite data for this. Fifth one, you can say sustainable solutions. There is a declining soil fertility in India because rapid use of pesticide, exhaustive use of pesticide, I would say. Then water is used a lot. Overuse of chemical is there. Water scarcity. The groundwater table has gone down. The future demand of the food that we have to see, because since the crop is not giving the yield, we have seen that 50% of the yield in India, the crop yield is below the global average. So that is the another problem. So hydroponics, vertical farming, microbial biological inputs, regenerative practices, AI based nutrient management, these are all upcoming topics or upcoming spotlights that you can see as an opportunity in the sustainable solution areas. So we have a big startup again as an example, which is called Urban Kisan. Similarly to Urban Kisan, there is also a Pune-based startup called NutriFresh. They both are operating hydroponics farms. Urban Kisan is operating in Hyderabad and Bangalore, and NutriFresh is operating in Pune, the outskirts of Pune, and they are growing pesticide-free vegetables and other crops like lettuce, kale, those kind of things are being grown. Cherry tomatoes, strawberries are grown using 90% less water. Another startup which is BioPrime Agri Solution, which is again an incubated startup by Pusa Krishi. They have prepared biostimulants which enhances crop stress tolerance, which increases the probability of yield. For example, if there is a crop standing in the field and the rainfall was predicted for this week, example for say, but rainfall didn't came, the temperature increased, the humidity dropped, so there is a kind of a crop stress situation which the crop is under, which eventually decreases the yield during the harvest time. So they have prepared some kind of biological stimulant which enhances the crop stress tolerance by reducing the chemical dependency, and they have a patented technology which is Sniper and Bionexus. Then we have a Nether-based startup which is Pure Green Farms. They are into hydro farms, again hydroponics, and producing 1,000 tons per year and cutting down emissions, which is the greenhouse gases. Sixth, which is a favorite of mine as well, which is waste to wealth and green energy, producing green energy. So in Punjab and Haryana region, you might have heard of crop stubble burning, which is there near the winter season, and there is a thick smog which comes over the Delhi NCR area. Then there is waste mismanagement and novel clean energy solutions which are there. So solution for this is bio CNG generation, compost system, biomass pelletization. Pelletization is basically you cut down. I'll have an example of agree to power in below. I'll just explain that as well. We have solar dryers and we have decentralized biogas plants. So these are the topics that can be taken up as a radar on the opportunity in the agri-tech space. We have examples again. One is Agree to Power A2P, which is, again is a startup incubated by Pusa Krishi. They convert paddy straw. They have some kind of a farmer base which cover approximately 650 acres, predominantly growing paddy in the area of Punjab and Haryana. They take those paddy straws and convert that into briquettes. Briquettes are basically small pellets which can again be used by industries for burning. So rather than burning in the field, they are burning and preparing briquettes or pellets out of it and giving it to the industries like sugarcane industries. They are giving it to. Over there, the briquettes are being burned. The smog, obviously बात है कि अगर कुछ जल रहा है तो smog आएगा उसका. But at the industrial level, उसको control करा जाता है. The heavy particles, the heavy metals in the smog is controlled down, and then the smoke is released. So that apparently is harmful but less harmful than crop burning. This paddy straw, which this startup is procuring from the farmers, they are also giving money for this to the farmers. So this basically reduces stubble burning and helps farmers create a additional revenue for them as a the burning, sorry, the paddy straw that they give it to the startup. Another example is GPS Renewables. They have bio-urja processing plants, which processes organic waste and produces biogas. And they are supplying it again B2B and B2C directly to the consumer in the household nearby that area. Predominantly the tier 2, tier 3 cities they are supplying and the villages as well. And they are also giving it out to the industries. So right now they have 20,000 farmers in Punjab and generating 5 megawatt energies every day. Another startup which is BioBean, it is based out in Brazil. They are transforming 50,000 tons of coffee waste into biofuels and biochemicals. Right. So that is also a waste to wealth energy uh, startup. Any doubt in this previous slides? Anyone can, if they have, they can unmute themselves and ask. Okay. Then we have the key challenges in the agri-tech space. Key challenges basically what are the bottlenecks or what can be the obstructions that can come in the agri-tech space if you start a business or a startup around it. First one is farmer adoption barrier. We have seen that is why I would saying that agri fintech is something which still has scope and farmer though in the newer generation that have come into agriculture they are using they are digitally literate but many smallhold farmers which comprises of a large chunk in India they are not digitally literate right now and they are still using those button keypad phones, not the touch smartphones. So we have to convert them. There is still scope. There's a lot of chunk that is available. So first of all, there is digital literacy gap and the risk aversion is there. So only 30%, there is an example for this. Only 30% farmer use apps and trust gaps slow take up. So 30% farmers जो है India के they are using apps. For example, there is a IoT app or maybe a fintech app or maybe something related to data is there. So only 30% user base is there approximately. The major problem for the farmers not adopting to these apps are trust issues, non-availability of smartphones or slow uptake. They are little slow in uptaking or the usage of the application that you prepare. So you can say that what is the answer to this? You can say that focus on delivery based services. For example, missed call, like the farmer is still in India wants some kind of connect with the company that has given some kind of product or services to them. So they want some kind of connect. Connect can be given from WhatsApp, from normal messages, from either through missed calls or through voice notes or voice calls. And rather than having a complicated user interface in the application, you should make it very simple so that the farmer get adopted to it very easily. Second challenge is fragmented markets. Fragmented markets for the startup basically means fragmented land holding size because 86% of the farmers in India are smallhold farmers having less than 2 hectares of land. So if you have some kind of a precision IoT sensor, so you cannot deploy that for 1 acre or 2 acre or three because sensor would require a larger area. Or you can say someone who is doing satellite mapping on the farmer field. So precisely getting to an acre of land from satellite and getting data out of it is apparently not possible now. In future it might be, but right now it's not possible. So minimum to minimum, they need somewhat around 5 to 10 acres of land for the precision agricultural startups. For drone spraying also, I would say like if a farmer has half a acre of land or 2 acres of, sorry, half a acre or 1 acre of land, it becomes a little cumbersome for the startup to do the drone spraying as well, right? So for this, what the startup can do or what you guys can do if you want to venture into it, you have to work collectively with FPOs. FPOs are nothing but farmer producer organization, collective group of 100 to 200 or maybe 500 farmers. So once those farmers come together, you have a bigger land holding, bigger size, and then that services or a product can be deployed over there easily. In FPO also, you can say more literate, more digitally literate farmers are there who are heading the FPOs, and there's a copycat system. If maybe say there are 100 farmers in a FPO, 10% of that or 10 farmers of that FPO are adopting to something, rest will follow. So that is some kind of a philosophy that happens in Indian farm area. So approaching FPOs rather than directly to the farmers is more feasible. Then, as I said, logistics is a problem with around which startups can be formed. To tackle this, I would say digital platforms, or you can say you might have heard of Shiprocket. Okay, delivery is there, which is a company which transport your products from one place to another, delivers the product to one place to another. And there are many courier services or infrastructure services that can be availed through digital platforms, right, to improve the rural infrastructure. Then lastly, we have regulatory complexity, which is the legal paperworks. Working with government entities, or maybe say seed corporations, or you can say uh, national level agencies like ENAM is there, FSSAI is there, or state APMC markets are there, or DGCA is there, or you want to have a fertilizer control order certification, which is a FCO, which comes under FCO law if you are launching some biostimulant or chemical. So getting that process completed takes time because it's a governmental process. It will go through its whole framework and all the approvals has to be given. So it takes time. But the solution for this is you either get involved with some government supported schemes which are relatively faster, or you can say you can get associated with some kind of SVP, which is a special vehicle project, which is launched by the government itself, which run these kind of government supported schemes. So you can get interacted with them, you can get in touch with them for getting your work done. You can either get in touch with some legal consultants, or partnerships can be done through bigger organizations, and you can either join some kind of an incubator which can guide you further in this regularity complexity. I have displayed one example below. If you guys can see, it is Agnest, which partnered with ITC. This partnership took place approximately around 2022. There was a complete field validation that they did with a pilot study they did with ITC. Agnest is basically a data company and using IoT and AI services to the providing advisory services in agriculture as well as food quality testing they are doing. But they face some kind of FSSAI data validation hurdles. So they partnered with ITC. They had some kind of pilot running, and eventually they got the approval from FSSAI. So partnering with ITC actually made their brand, right? They got in touch with ITC to create their own brand, to get validation, and to create some kind of a, you can say, the data that they produced, the data validation that was done with ITC, that got authentic because ITC itself is a big brand, right? So that gives an advantage to the startup as well. Now, how you will be thriving as a agri-tech startup. So these are three steps. Thriving means if you start an agri-tech startup, how you can start it, right? And how I've given examples to it also, that how other companies started their practices, how the other companies started their business and activities. First one is start a lean approach. If you want to get into agriculture, if you want to get into any category, say precision, or you can say farm mechanization or waste to wealth, any of them, start with a single crop and a single region. Don't try to expand predominantly into everywhere. Like if you want to take a complete district for starting your own startup, it will be a very big size. Start with a small village or a two village maximum. Get in touch with them, get the farmer trust with you. Start slow because agriculture is something which takes time. The farmers will take time to build trust on the company, right? So start slow with one crop and a single region. Preferably, if you belong to some state or some kind of district, apart from like if you guys are in Dehradun, but I know there might be some people who have come across different states of India. They might be having different districts, they might belong to some different districts as well. So preferably start your business in that district because you have you know the culture, you know the language, so it will be a little easier for you and trust building activity will also speed up. Example for this, for example, there is Stella Apps. Stella Apps is basically into animal husbandry. It started digitization with data management tools that they provided to dairy cooperatives. So initially they started with 1 to 2 villages. Now they have expanded to 35,000 villages. right? So start slow, eventually expansion will take place. Dehat, which is there, which started in Bihar, because Shishank, which is one of the founder of Dehat, he belongs to Bihar. So he started with the rice farmers in Bihar region. He took one crop, one state, hit 1 million users, and then currently they have in total approximately they have raised 224 million in funding. So eventually time will take up and startup grows bigger and bigger, but your focus should be clear. Second is trust building and showing ROI. Trust building is basically, as I said, if you have a FPO, rather than going to individual farmer, target an FPO or a large cooperative instead for your early pilots or selling of your services or a product, right? India, as you might have seen, SFAC is one of an organization under Ministry of Agriculture. They have a target of having formalized 10,000 plus FPOs in India, right? So FPOs is something is a you can say a tackle or a loop around the bottleneck that is faced by most of the startup. Gram Cover is one of the startup you can say they have insured 3.2 million farmers via FPO only. They are currently operating in 13 states and 8,000 villages, and collectively they have collected 110 crores of premium in terms of insurances, right? And Cropin is also one of the famous startups. They provide AI and ML powered solutions along with traceability and advisory services to the FPOs. Now, the third point is leveraging your capabilities and getting involved with some incubator, right? And also blending the tech and the local knowledge together. So over here, incubator, since it's a agri-tech startup, you can get incubated anywhere. There are many incubators across India, agri incubators. I have taken the example of my own incubator, which is Pusa Krishi. Another, which is Kheti, which is another example. This startup started very early as a hydroponic company, but eventually they changed their business model and they have started growing crops and vegetables with farmers in a greenhouse. Greenhouse in a box is their philosophy in which they prepare small greenhouses for the farmers. So basically, they cannot go to the field. Initially, they might have gone to the field, they have created their greenhouses for the farmers, but farmers won't be able to understand, right? Poly houses, how it's being operated, greenhouses, how it's being operated, some kind of technology is being used in it. So they started doing education first, they started doing extension activities, made farmers aware and had some kind of hand holding with them to know what a greenhouse is and how it is being operated. And now they are doing small greenhouses for a farmers in their field for doing crops which are not of that climate. In greenhouses, you can manipulate the temperature, you can manipulate the humidity for a certain crop which you are growing. So apart from outside the greenhouse, whatever temperature, whatever humidity might be there, in the greenhouse, you can maintain your own for that particular crop. So they started doing that. Now, role of the incubator, which is very important for the journey of a startup. As an incubator, as a whole, all incubator does the same parameters. They run over the same parameters. They provide you incubation and mentoring support. Pusa Krishi, which is an incubator at ICAR, Indian Agriculture Research Institute, we have a network of approximately 500 scientists and industry experts belonging to various domains from agriculture, food, and allied sector. We also provide funding support to the startups under pre-seed and seed support, which is the RKVY Raftar program, CSR program, and also connect with the potential investors. Since 2019, we have done approximately 27 crores of grant in aid funding to the startups. We also do market access and validation. We have lab access at IRI. We have fields, approximately 1,250 hectares of land is under IRI. So we have ample amount of space for field trials. We have connection with many farmer lakhs and lakhs of farmers across India. We organize farmer meet, demos, exhibitions, tech validation on field under the guidance of scientists. We do that. And we also provide network opportunities, for example, connecting the startups to an investor, uh, taking you to some exhibitions where you can have some kind of interaction, or you can say you can taking any startup to a pitching event where investors are there and you can pitch to the investors directly. And also we have a network of 450 plus incubated startups in total right now. So any agri-tech startup getting incubated with Pusa Krishi have the leverage of interacting with those 450 startups as well. Now, key takeaways or simple framework, if we see, uh, almost at the end of the presentation. These two models, I would say, have been working in the agri-tech space. There are many models that you can see. There are SWOT analysis, there are pestle analysis. Many type of models and frameworks are there, but lean ROI model and ERRR framework is something which works very well in the you can say uh, agri-tech space. Lean is basically same, start with one crop and one region, engage with FPOs, local FPOs. A for access of incubators for grants and fundings. N is for navigating through government schemes. Uh, R is for reveal. Reveal means you have to display some kind of positive gain or reveal some kind of positive gains to the farmers. O is optimization. For example, if you are doing some kind of startup in precision, so you have to optimize your product on a very daily basis. Not a daily basis, I would say. Eventually, you have to on a weekly basis because you are getting data. So on a backlog, you have to upgrade your data, you have to run the algorithms, and you have to optimize if because you are giving some kind of advisory to the farmers as well. I is something which is called implementation. You have to implement, do the activities on the field, and you have to start the commercialization. So lean ROI model can be followed. Otherwise, ERRR framework, which was given by Contagious in a book which was written by John Berger. E stands for excitement. For example, if you have a company like a agri-tech startup and you have a product or a service, you have to create a hype about it. Hype within the FPO, or you can say hype within the farming community. R is basically results. For example, if you give some kind of any product or services to the farmers, they should feel some kind of a positive outcome from that. So result is from that. Repeat is basically if they get some kind of a positive result from one of the product that you sold, they will be taking up different other products that are there in your portfolio. So it will be a repeat percentage. The customer will be coming back, the farmers will be coming back to you again and again. So there is a cross selling of portfolio products, different products or different services that you have prepared. Then lastly, this is referrals, which works very well in the village areas, which is farmers word of mouth. If one farmer which have gained trust in you says to another farmer, yeah, this product is good, iski services बहुत अच्छी है, the advisory is very good. So basically, farmer trust another farmer more than the brands or more than the ads that you run through Instagram or Facebook or anywhere. So word of mouth is very important in the agri-tech space. These are some of the snapshots for the agri-tech space, the funding scenario that are being coming up. I have taken data from Omnivore VC report. Covered up till 2023. In India, approximately in 2023, $940 million of funding was done in the agri-tech space. And what are the categories in which 940 million was spent? You can see on the right hand side. Uh, EdTech space market, you can say fintech and marketplaces, which is again supply chain and agri logistics. You can see e-grocer, the maximum at 420 million. This is because this funding accounted for Zomato, which raised a very large chunk of funding. So the funding amount has gone very up. Other than that, these are all the you can say the sectors in which predominantly agri-tech space funding has been done in 2023. In 2024 as well, the funding sectors are almost the same. So this is the end. I would like to thank you, the founders Launchpad, for inviting me for this webinar. Any of you want to have some kind of a detailed approach over those sectors which have like precision agriculture, or you can say inputs, or maybe food tech, So these are some of the reports that I have written that has been authored by me and the team members here at Pusa Krishi. If you guys are interested, you guys can write down to marketing.manager@pusakrishi.in, and I'll be happy to share the digital copy of that particular report in which you can find detailed analysis of that particular sector. So that's all from my side. Thank you.
So we have got one question in the chat box. It says that how can AI and blockchain help build the trust and transparency in the fragmented market? Since you mentioned that fragmented markets is one of the shortcoming we have, that we are not able to diversify our product and somewhat like that. So if you can answer this, please.
AI and blockchain can help in. So as I said, transparency, AI and blockchain, yes, it can help. It becomes like helps in bringing transparency. It can help in, if you have a product, I'll give this answer with an example. So if you have some kind of a product, say you are producing jaggery and you want to supply it to the end consumer. So jaggery is being procured from somewhere at a very village level, so you put a barcode to it or some kind of a QR code to it for transparency. But making farmers understand this is very difficult. Like one-to-one farmer understanding this becomes very difficult. So as I said, getting through a cooperative or getting approached by an FPO will be relatively easy because in an FPO, if there are 100 farmers and you want to approach this AI and blockchain technology, you can explain this to 10 farmers in that FPO. Maybe if they are tech savvy, they will adopt it and the rest will follow. That is the main point. AI in blockchain, yes, it can help. Trust building is not predominantly for the farmers, but trust building is predominantly for the consumers. That if they are consuming something which is coming from so and so farmer or so and so village, it is authentic and has been produced by a so this and this many you can say practices, the agriculture practices you can say. Fragmenting land is actually a problem for this. So FPO, getting approached to an FPO would be the answer.
Guys, if you have any other questions, you can just switch on your mic and ask the questions.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir Akash this side. Sir, I
Yes,
want
Akash.
to ask you about a figure. Sir, what is the spending power of average Indian farmer? Like how much he can spend on precision farmings or tools? This is a figure that we cannot find on internet or anywhere.
Precision, like you saying, any startup that has approached a farmer, so what
Hustle,
kind of
hustle
amount that he
finance.
is able to spend, you are saying this?
Yes, sir.
So yeah, you are right. There's no data about this on the internet, but approximately from the startups that we have incubated with us at Pusa Krishi, particularly in the precision agriculture space, they have their services ranging from 500 to 6,000 rupees. So as an individual farmer, if the farmer, I would say a smallhold farmer, 500 rupees is still a big amount. But for say a farmer who is from Punjab or Haryana growing wheat or paddy, 500 rupees is not much for them. So they can adopt with that as a agri, for example, agri advisory we can say. So if a farmer is getting agri advisory through a startup, they are giving say 500 rupees for a year or for say 6 months as a subscription model. Say they are doing this and till the farm they reach for example 6,000 rupees, which is another subscription that can be taken by an FPO collectively, so that 20 or 30 or 50 people or the farmers that are there in a group that can utilize that, so they can break it down that way. But the ranges in between 200 to 500 and maximum up to 5,000, 6,000.
Actually, sir, I want to ask particularly about sensor-based devices like Fossil Provide and Philo and Fusser type devices. Like they are about above 50,000 and 70,000.
Hmm. Sensor based, you mean to say like if some kind of sensor is there in which you can do soil testing, that kind of a sensor you are saying?
Yes, sir, exactly.
Okay. That service, I would say, that will be not a like the farmer won't be buying the sensor. In that case, your model for business should be different. That will be a service-based model. You need to have people on the field that will go on the field and test the samples from the soil using that sensor that you have. And per sample might be like 50 rupees you can charge. That will be done.
Okay, okay.
50 to 100 because initially the farmer does, they collect their soil and they go to a KVK or any government laboratory for their soil test, which usually happens on the field. They go to a KVK for the soil test or maybe some laboratory which is being recognized by the government. Soil testing usually takes approximately 15 to 20 days to come. In many villages in which uh, working is not good, the reports doesn't come also, which is the hard reality of the ground level. But if you have a sensor and you go on the field and test to the farmers and give the report within like half an hour or 1 hour, either through sensors or doing wet chemistry at the field, they would be happily giving you 50 to 100 rupees per sample.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So business model has to be created accordingly the product because farmer cannot buy everything. He also has some kind of a pocket or you can say a budget because most of the investment of his is going into the field for producing the crop. For example, buying the seeds, fertilizers, chemicals, those kind of things are mostly the money is going towards that. So service-based model is something at a very nominal cost that can be done. Initially, these kind of startups are reliant on the funding which is they are raising or some kind of grant which the government gives for accelerating on the field, having some kind of field agents or field officers that can go on the field to the farmers and do these kind of activities. Okay. Any other question?
Uh, One other thing, sir, you
Hmm.
talked about 30% of the farmer use mobile apps and these services.
Hmm.
So, they are willing to use precision farming and advanced agriculture services.
नो नो दैट परसेंटेज मोर वो ज्यादा कम है क्योंकि 30% जो एप्स मैंने आपको बताई है दैट आर सोशल मीडिया एप्स
Okay, okay, okay.
फार्मर्स क्योंकि उनको इवेंचुअली अब क्योंकि इंस्टाग्राम फेसबुक जितना भी आप यूट्यूब वगैरह देखते हैं
Yes.
रूरल लेवल पे भी उसकी पेनिट्रेशन काफी है बट 30% आप कह सकते हैं बिकॉज द लैक ऑफ स्मार्टफोन्स विच आर देयर आप अगर पंजाब हरियाणा एरिया में जाते हैं आपको हर फार्मर के पास एक स्मार्टफोन मिल जाएगा बट बिहार के ईस्टर्न एरिया पे अगर आप जाते हैं या फिर यूपी के ईस्टर्न एरिया में जाते हैं आप और साउथ में अगर आप चले जाए साउथ में तो कंपैरेटिवली ज्यादा है महाराष्ट्र एंड कर्नाटका and Kerala side, Tamil Nadu side, these farmers are relatively high in digital literacy rate. मध्य प्रदेश एरिया आप कह सकते हैं महाराष्ट्र का जो बेल्ट है विच इज कैन से कोइंसाइडिंग विद मध्य प्रदेश बिहार का एरिया हो गया एंड जम्मू कश्मीर के फार्मर्स हो गए सो देयर आर लिटिल प्रॉब्लम्स ओवर देयर.
Okay, okay.
You don't have to give your precision agriculture services across India. You can target some states which are adoptive. गुजरात के फार्मर्स काफी अडॉप्टेड है अडॉप्शन अच्छे से करते हैं महाराष्ट्र के फार्मर्स काफी अडॉप्टेड है तो आप उनसे कोलैबोरेट करें बिकॉज इफ यू टारगेट ओनली 1 to 2 स्टेट ऑल्सो योर रेवेन्यू विल गो अप अबव अ करोड़ इजीली.
या बट गुजरात और वहाँ का मार्केट पहले ही फसल एंड फाइलों वगैरह ने कैप्चर कर रखा है प्रेसिजन एग्रीकल्चर का काफी ज्यादा.
एग्जैक्टली मतलब जहाँ पे उनको पेनिट्रेशन
हम्म.
ज्यादा मिली है उस वजह से दे आर टारगेटिंग दैट स्टेट ओनली.
दे ट्राइड फॉर नॉर्थ इंडिया ऑल्सो बट नॉर्थ इंडिया में दे फेल्ड क्योंकि यहाँ के लिए उनके डिवाइसेस कैलिब्रेटेड नहीं थे. उन्होंने
हम्म.
कुछ 5-7 करोड़ की सेल की यहाँ पे बट स्टिल जो भी उनके कस्टमर्स है वो नेगेटिव फीडबैक देते हैं नॉर्थ इंडिया में उनके लिए क्योंकि
राइट
वो
वो
डिवाइस.
सेंसर बेस जो रहता है उसका कैलिब्रेशन जो है वो स्टेट वाइज क्योंकि हर 100
यस.
किलोमीटर या 120 किलोमीटर बाद सॉइल जो है वो चेंज हो जाता है इंडिया में.
यस.
सो कैलिब्रेशन इज इम्पोर्टेंट दैट्स व्हाई आई एम सेइंग नॉट आपका अगर प्रिसीजन एग्रीकल्चर का अगर कोई सर्विस है इट्स नॉट नेसेसरी दैट यू एक्सपैंड इट अक्रॉस इंडिया. आप स्टेट स्पेसिफिक या डिस्ट्रिक्ट स्पेसिफिक भी आप रख सकते हैं उसको.
ओके, ओके.
थैंक यू. एनी अदर क्वेश्चंस?
I think so that all of the questions have been covered within the session,
Okay.
and I don't think there are any more questions. So I would really like to thank you for having with us today in the Founders Launchpad. And I think that this session was well able to like simplify the actual scenario of this industry, of this agri-tech industry, and students got to know that what all are the opportunities if they want to know anything. Yes,
Hmm.
Shriyuk, there's someone who has a question. Once he asks, then we can just finish up the session.
Yes, Shuyuk, this side, I just wanted to know, can we do something for a startup for agriculture, agri-tech within the scenario of mushroom growth? Because I have researched about it a lot, and mushroom growth can have a high yield of profit.
Mushroom, in which mushroom that you are trying to grow? There are different type of mushrooms.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to grow, but I'm trying to think of an idea in which I can play out for as a company or a startup for agri-tech. But I have tried to grow oyster mushrooms in my house.
Okay. So there are two matlab, mushrooms in which there are different varieties, button mushroom and oyster mushrooms, which oyster which you have grown also. So button and oyster, these two are very commercially viable crops that can be sold and you have a good market to it. It's a commercial crop, you cannot create a brand out of it, but for earning revenue and having good profits, it's an excellent crop that you can go ahead. होलसेल मार्केट जैसे मंडीज जो रहती है वहां पे इसका सप्लाई बहुत इजीली अच्छे से होता है इफ यू डू द प्रॉपर पैकेजिंग टू इट. अगर आप लूज लेके जाएंगे तो आपको प्राइस नहीं मिलेगा. उसके अलावा इफ यू हैव सम काइंड ऑफ मशरूम, आपने शिटाके मशरूम के बारे में सुना हुआ है?
हाँ जी सर, सुना हुआ है।
हाँ, शिटाके मशरूम होते हैं, कॉर्डिसेप्स होते हैं. दीज आर ऑल मेडिसिनल मशरूम्स दैट कैन बी सप्लाइड टू एट अ वेरी हाई वैल्यू टू द फार्मास्यूटिकल कंपनीज. सो ऑयस्टर और बटन का मार्केट अलग है, कॉर्डिसेप्स का और इसका शिटाके का. शिटाके इज ऑल्सो बीइंग नाउ डेज यूज्ड इन फूड ऑल्सो, बट प्रोडामिनेटली उसका जो एक्सट्रैक्ट है दैट इज बीइंग यूज्ड इन द फार्मास्यूटिकल कंपनीज, तो उसका मार्केट थोड़ा सा अलग हो जाता है. एक तो ये कर सकते हैं आप, मशरूम उगाना और उसके लिए मार्केट ढूंढना, वो आप कर सकते हैं. अदर थिंग इज मशरूम की शेल्फ लाइफ जो रहती है दैट इज हार्वेस्ट होने के बाद अप्रोक्सीमेटली अगर उसको कोल्ड चेन में भी रखे तो 3 से 5 दिन का होता है. सो इफ यू वर्क अराउंड समथिंग काइंड ऑफ अ बायोलॉजिकल एक्सट्रैक्ट और सम काइंड ऑफ केमिकल एक्सट्रैक्ट विच इंक्रीजेज द शेल्फ लाइफ ऑफ मशरूम, उसका इथिलीन का जो क्या बोलते हैं, जो निकलता है मशरूम से विच कॉजेज द डिट्यूरेशन, तो वो अगर आप कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं यू कैन ऑल्सो ट्राई टू एक्सपोर्ट दैट. वो भी आप मार्केट एक्सप्लोर कर सकते हैं और इवन यू कैन सेल दैट केमिकल और बायोलॉजिकल एक्सट्रैक्ट दैट यू हैव. उसके बारे में आप पढ़ सकते हैं. देर इज ऑल्सो वन स्टार्टअप ओवर हियर इंक्यूबेटेड विद अस बाय द नेम ऑफ नवोर्क. आप गूगल पे जाके उसके वेबसाइट को आप देख सकते हैं. दैट इज इनटू इंक्रीजिंग द शेल्फ लाइफ ऑफ मशरूम्स. दे आर, उनका जो बायोलॉजिकल एक्सट्रैक्ट का स्प्रे करने के बाद मशरूम का शेल्फ लाइफ 3 से 5 दिन से बढ़ के 7 से 10 दिन तक हो जाता है. सो vendors that are using those you can say coated mushrooms are also exporting to other countries, mostly to the Gulf areas.
Sir, what I thought was to dehydrate the mushrooms and dry extract bechna. That was a very viable approach that I approached to, and it had some good returns. And you told me about cordyceps. Cordyceps do have a very great yield and revenue, but they also need a very sustainable environment, I think, because they get very
Hmm.
easily infected, and
Infected,
their
हाँ,
yield,
right.
and they also need a very tricky environment to grow.
Right.
So,
So
the
that is
initial
why the cost is also high ना. मतलब it's mostly like आपने जितना इन्वेस्टमेंट किया उसके अंदर, जितना इनपुट आपने ध्यान दिया उसके अंदर, उतना ही उसका फिर कॉस्ट बढ़ता जाता है. So that is why cordyceps is an expensive crop. You have to be attentive around it. So but once you go in the market for selling it, you also churn a good amount of price for that. ड्राइड मशरूम जो आप कह रहे हैं फॉर द पाउडर वाला, इसके लिए मार्केट आई वुड से इंडिया में इट्स नॉट देयर. पाउडर और ड्राइड के साथ साथ देयर इज ऑल्सो अ कैंड मशरूम जो कि बाहर एक्सपोर्ट काफ़ी होता है. इंडिया में उसका मार्केट नहीं है. इंडिया आई वुड से ड्राइड मशरूम जो है आप B2B पिज्जा पार्लर जैसे अपने डोमिनोज जो रहता है आप उनको सप्लाई कर सकते हैं, बट दैट इज ऑल्सो नॉट अ बिग मार्केट फॉर इंडिया। आप एक्सपोर्ट कर सकते हैं उसको यूरोप में, यूएस में, गल्फ में, इवन इन दी साउथ एशियन कंट्रीज लाइक वियतनाम, एंड यू हैव इंडोनेशिया, श्रीलंका। यहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा, जापान इज़ वन ऑफ द कंज्यूमर्स। तो वहाँ पे आप इसको एक्सपोर्ट कर सकते हैं, वहाँ पे आपका मार्केट ज़्यादा है। कैंड मशरूम एंड ड्राइड पाउडर एंड ड्राइड मशरूम्स।
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir, thank you for joining us, and I hope
Okay.
that students got all the insights which they were supposed to from the session. And yes, thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting. If any other question arises, the email ID is there. You can write down to Ritik or me, and then I'll be reverting on that. Okay.
Okay, sir, sure.
Thank you so much.
Also, you guys can connect with sir on LinkedIn as well if you want to ask any of the questions.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.